Hello students, today we are going to start the next topic for the chapter microorganism. We will be discussing the next type of microorganism that we have classified, that is viruses. Okay. Now students, till now we have discussed one thing, that some usefulness of this microorganism and some harmfulness of the microorganism. Now this microorganism, viruses, they do not have any usefulness to us. Okay, so they are only have some harmful viruses only. Now what is the meaning of viruses? You know students, the word virus means poison. Okay, and they are microscopic in nature and they are the most primitive organism known to men. And you know, this viruses, they are the smallest of the microorganism. ये सबसे small होते हैं microorganisms में, and they may display the characteristic of both living and non-living being. Okay, and they are so small that they cannot be seen even by a light microscope. They can only be visible by the electron microscope only, and they do not have a cell structure like other microorganisms also. Okay, because they can exhibit the characteristics of both living and non-living, so they do not have a cellular structure like other microorganisms also. This body of virus consists of a single strand of nuclear matter, that is a DNA or RNA, which is surrounded by a protein coat, and they multiply or replicate only if they are present in the host cell. Okay, and they also obtain their nourishment from their host cells, and they can be crystallized and stored for a very long period of time. Okay, for many years they can be stored. Students, this viruses, they not only obtain the nourishment, but they also causes diseases in the host where they lives. Okay, now there's a fact site given, and it's a very interesting fact site because there's a disease called AIDS. Okay, this is a disease which is called AIDS, and this is the abbreviation which is used, and the name of this disease, that's the full form of this AIDS, is acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. Okay, and it's a very serious and a fatal disease which is caused by a virus. Okay, and it is caused by a HIV virus. Now student, it was first diagnosed in the USA in 1980s, and since then it has been diagnosed in other countries as well. Now this virus kills the WBCs and reduces the body's immunity. Okay, and the symptoms of AIDS are weakness, you will be feeling weak, there is a loss of appetite, loss of weight will be there, fever, swelling of the lymph nodes. Now bacha, what happens actually? AIDS, this disease do not cause anything. What happens when your immunity level is very low? आप other diseases की बहुत ज़्यादा आपको like you have this tendency of getting diseases. Now you may be suffering from jaundice, you will be easily getting cold, you will be easily suffering from other type of diseases like typhoid and this type of diseases. So this is about AIDS. That's a fact site given in your books. Now we'll be discussing some harmful viruses. Now, this all known kind of viruses are pathogenic. What is pathogenic? Pathogenics are the microorganisms that are cause diseases. That is parasite which leads to many diseases in plants, animals and human beings. Now polio, chickenpox, measles, common cold, AIDS, COVID-19 are some examples of this viral diseases. Students, the tobacco mosaic virus is the most common pathogen in plants, especially tobacco and other number of plants. In cattle also, the viral infection is very common. The most common viral infection is it causes FMD disease, that is foot and mouth disease. Students, many vegetables are also susceptible or infected by these viruses. The vegetables like cabbage, cauliflower, mustard, cotton and bean and tomato are affected or infected by these viruses. Students, spraying pesticide on plants is a good method of protecting them from viral diseases. Plowing, we have discussed that how we will be preparing the soil. This plowing also kills germs, which can how it kills germs. It exposes the soil to the sunlight, and in the presence of sunlight the germs may be killed. Some viral infections or viral diseases in humans are prevented by getting vaccinated. What is vaccination? We'll be discussing in this topic here further. And what is vaccination? Vaccination means providing immunity to a certain type of disease. Students, by single vaccination only, the smallpox has been eradicated from the face of the earth completely. Okay. Now, students, there is a check yourself given in your book, and this check yourself consists of 2 questions. The first question is, why is the food left over after lunch or dinner stored in a refrigerator? क्यों store करते हैं हम? Because they can be prevented from this spoilage by the action of microorganism. Next, second one, which one gets spoiled faster? Dry flour or kneaded dough? And why? Okay, so this is the question that you will be doing. So of course kneaded flour will be getting damaged very fast or spoiled very fast as compared to dry flour. Okay, a virus that infects bacteria is called bacteriophage. What is bacteriophage? A virus that can infect the bacteria. See this virus, they can infect their own also. So they will be affecting bacteria, or they will be infecting bacteria, and that bacteria will be calling bacteriophage. Such bacteria play host to this bacteriophages, and later the bodies of human beings, plants and other animals also play host to infections of both bacteria and viruses. Now there is a fact side given, students. You all may be familiar with this. This is coronavirus disease, that is COVID-19, is an infectious respiratory disease, and COVID-19 outbreaks started in Wuhan, China. Okay, so this was a fact side given in your books, and now you can see some forms of viruses which is given in your book. That is the image of some viruses. That is vaccinia virus, paramoxovirus, herpavirus, orfvirus, rhabdovirus, okay, T, even choliophage. So these are some viruses that are given in your books. Now students will be discussing the next heading, that is food preservation. So let me rub this and then we'll be starting about this food preservation. So the heading is food preservation. How we can preserve the food and why it is necessary to preserve the food. Now students, all of the food items, both cooked or uncooked, are vulnerable to spoilage by the growth of microorganisms. Okay, thus it is imperative to preserve the food and prevent them from spoilage. Many times we need to store food for a very longer period of time, both domestically as well as commercially. So students, it is very necessary we should learn about the food preservation techniques and what are the different types of technique that we can use to slow down the growth of the microorganism and besides maintaining the quality, flavor and color and texture of the food items. Okay, and how we can store this food for a very longer period of time. So some different techniques which can be used in food preservation are: first, drying. First technique is drying. What happens in drying? In this, the moisture is removed from the food items completely. So as you know that microorganism can grow in moist condition, and moist condition and dry condition inhibits their growth. So when this food item is dried, that is they do not have any moisture, then the growth of microorganism will be hindered. So this food grains such as cereals and this pulses are sun dried, after harvesting before their storage, and this lack of moisture helps the seeds to remain stored for a very longer period of time. The second technique or method of your food preservation is using salt, sugar and oil and vinegar. Students, this vinegar is your sirka. You may have heard this word sirka in your homes, okay? So, by using salt, sugar, oil and vinegar. Now, how come we can prevent the growth of microorganisms by this? First, we will be discussing why salt. But students, by using salting is done to preserve meat, fish, amla, raw mangoes, turmeric. अगर आप meat and in this older times जब विंटर्स होते थे, सो विंटर्स बहुत ज्यादा जो कोल्ड रीजन्स होते थे, सपोज इन स्कॉटलैंड एंड दिस टाइप ऑफ रीजन्स, व्हाट हैपेंस, वो लोग समर्स में के एंड में, दैट इज विंटर स्टार्ट होने से पहले, दे यूज्ड टू हंट एनिमल्स एंड दे यूज्ड टू ब्रिंग दिस हंटेड एनिमल्स टू देयर पैलेसेस और टू देयर प्लेसेस, एंड उसमें बहुत सारा सॉल्ट लगा देते थे, एंड दे यूज्ड टू स्टोर दिस मीट so that they can be used during winter times where there is so much harsh weather is there. So salting is done to preserve meat, fish, amla, raw mangoes and turmeric. This jams, jellies and fruit juices are preserved by using sugar. Okay, what happens, sugar reduces moisture which inhibits the growth of microbes or bacteria and fungus. Oils and vinegars are the best example for preserving pickles. आपके घर में अचार मोस्टली मम्मा कैसे बनाती है? तो सिरका डालते हैं उनमें, या what she do, she dip the whole अचार in the oil. आपकी मम्मा हमेशा कहते हैं ना, अचार को ऑयल के अंदर रखो, भाई ऑयल ऊपर रहना चाहिए. So why? Because this oil will be preventing the air to enter into the achar or your pickle, and as there will be no air, so the growth of microorganism is hindered and it can be preserved for a very longer period of time. The third method of food storage is canning. Now students, what happens nowadays, many food items like your jams, jellies, vegetable, fish and even cooked food items are kept in airtight containers, because as airtight containers there will be absence of air, so the food article will not be spoiling. Fourth type of method of food preservation is heating. ये बच्चा आपने अपने घरों में भी देखा होगा. Okay, what happens, high temperature prevents the growth of microorganism, and this method is used at our homes for storage of milk, water every day. Next is freezing. Okay, you all may be using this refrigerators or fridge in your homes, and this low temperature of this fridge or this refrigerator prevents the growth of microbes, as they need moderate temperature to grow. So many number of food items such as milk, yogurt, cooked food items, raw vegetables, fruits, they are stored in your refrigerator for a very longer period of time. Sixth technique of food preservation is pasteurization. Now what is this pasteurization? It is done commercially, that is on large scale storing of milk. This technique is used. It was invented, or it was discovered by this French chemist Louis Pasteur. What happens in this? The milk is heated at 65 degrees Celsius for 30 minutes, or it may be heated at 72 degrees Celsius for 15 minutes. जैसे आप heat कर लेंगे, and it is followed by the rapid cooling below 10 degrees Celsius, and this method kills most of the bacteria which can spoil the milk. Okay. The next type of technique which is used for the food preservation is use of chemical preservatives. Now nowadays, for storing foods or for hindering the growth of microbes, we are using some chemicals preservatives also, like sodium benzoate and sodium metabisulfate, and these are used to preserve gems and squashes. Okay, so this completes our food preservation topic. Now students, we'll be starting the next topic. Before that, there is a check yourself given in your books, and this check yourself consists of a question. Okay, there is a very simple question attached to it. The question is, how are dengue and chikungunya diseases spread? You will have to write how this dengue and chikungunya disease spread. So that is, you will be writing how this disease is transferred from one point to another point and how we humans get suffered from it. Now the next heading that we are going to start is vaccine. Okay. Now students, you know, our body has a natural defense system to fight against diseases which are caused by these microorganisms. This system is called your immune system. Whenever a new microorganism which can cause a disease enter our body, the immune system produces antibodies to fight with it. Now these antibodies, they remain in our body and protect us from the same microorganism in future. The same in principle is used to produce vaccine also. A vaccine, and what is vaccine now? Vaccine is a dead or an inactive microorganism which, when introduced in the body, produces specific antibodies. Now these antibodies will remain in our body forever and protect us from that disease. Many diseases, you know, like chlorella, tuberculosis, smallpox and hepatitis can be prevented by vaccinations or by vaccines. Now there is a fact side given, you know, vaccination builds up a resistance which leads to enhanced immunity in the body against an infectious disease. Now students, this creation of vaccine is not a very easy task. ये बहुत difficult task होता है, because आप आपकी body में एक virus या एक you can say microorganism inject कर रहे हैं, वो dead है या inactive है. अगर आपकी body से fight नहीं कर पाई, so you will be suffering from that disease. अगर आपको disease नहीं भी था तो आप उस disease से suffer कर जाएंगे. So that's why this production of vaccine is very tedious work, and it requires a very longer time, and medical research goes on for a longer period of time. After that only a vaccine can be released in the market for the humans or for the common men to use. Now the next heading that we will be studying is antibiotics. Now we have discussed one thing, that antibodies are produced. What is antibiotics? Antibodies is a natural defense system which is created by our immune system. Okay, what are antibiotics? We will be discussing here now. Let me write down the heading, antibiotics. Antibiotics. Now students, every time it is not necessary कि हम vaccine ही दें हमारी body में. There are some medicine which can destroy the diseases caused by bacteria also, and they are produced from bacteria and fungi. Antibiotics are also given to livestock, poultry, to protect them from these microbial diseases. So what are antibiotics? Antibiotics are the medicines which can prevent or which can destroy the harmful effect of some bacteria. Okay, now however, you know, the care should be taken before we use this antibiotics. They should always be taken as advised by the doctor. आप पता चला आपकी तबीयत खराब है, you are feeling cold and you are taking this antibiotics. Now students, every disease cannot be suffered from this antibiotics, because antibiotics only fight with the diseases which are caused by the bacteria, not with the virus. Common cold is called, your cold is caused by virus. So how will you be taking this antibiotics? You will have to take antiviral medicines. Okay. Now a fact site is given. A fact site is antibiotics should not be taken for the treatment of cold and flu, as they are viral diseases and not bacterial diseases. So I have told you about this. Now students, there's two tables given in your books. First table consists of the disease caused by the microorganism in humans, and the second table consists of the disease caused by microorganism in plants. So let's start with the first table. There are three columns which are made, that is infectious disease, microbe that cause the disease, and type of microbe. Now the first disease is cold, which is caused by rhinovirus, and the type of microbe is virus. Chickenpox, it is caused by varicella zoster and it's a virus. German measles, it's caused by rubella and it's a virus. Whooping cough is caused by this Bordetella pertussis and it's a bacterium, that is a bacteria. And then it is bubonic plague, it's caused by Yersinia pestis and it's a bacteria, that is a bacterium. TB, that is tuberculosis, is caused by Mycobacterium tuberculosis and it's a bacterium. Next is malaria. It is caused by this Plasmodium falciparum and it is a protozoa. Okay, that is Plasmodium yours. And next is ringworm. Ringworm is a disease which is caused by this Trichophyton rubrum and it's a fungus. Next is athlete's foot and it is caused by Trichophyton mentagrophytes. It's a fungus. Next is disease caused by microorganism in plants. Okay, now I will be writing the name of disease and the causal organism, that is the organism which caused this disease. Wilt of potato, tomato and tobacco is caused by Pseudomonas solanaceae, like citrus cankers, blit of bean, black root of crucifer, crown gall of apple, rose and tomato, ring pot of potato, canker of tomato, scab of potatoes, wilt of crobatus, fire blit of apple and raw soft rot of mango. These are all the diseases which are caused by the microorganism, and you can see the table which is what is the causal organism that causes this type of disease in the plants. Now students, this completes a chapter and now we'll be discussing the exercise related to this chapter.